Namaste, beautiful yogis. Welcome to an intermediate Vinyasa yoga class. Today's class is appropriate for beginners and advanced students with appropriate modifications. We're going to work on shoulder openers, fluid standing sequence, and abdominal work. Let's come to the front end of our mat. Bring the feet parallel to each other and do a few shoulder rolls. Back and then a few forward. Use the full range of motion in your shoulders. Drawing imaginary circles back and then forward. Big circles. Breathe into your shoulders. Move slowly, fluidly. And let's bring the hands behind the head, clasping. Pressing the shoulders back and the elbows out and back. Look up. Breathe into your upper back. This is great for realigning bad posture. And release the hands down and reach over your head with one hand and then over with the other for side bends. Go easy here, we're just warming up. And switch again over to one side. Breathe into your obliques here and switch sides over to the other side. Really lengthen through the fingertips, press into both feet. Extend your tailbone down. Hands behind the head, clasping one more time. Press your elbows back. Open the chest as if you're lifting your heart towards the sky. Look up and lengthen the back of your neck here. Keep pressing the elbows back. Feel the opening. And release your hands down. You can shake them. Let's open the palms of the hands forward. Come onto the tippy toes. Finding a gazing point on the floor and just focus on your gazing point. Lower your heels down. And one more time, lift your heels off the floor. Staying on the toes. And back down. Let's clasp the hands, bring them behind the head. And look up, lengthening the back of your neck again, opening the chest, lifting through the sternum. Keep your elbows back in the same line with your ears. Slowly coming out of this, reach over your head, come halfway down, flat back, and release your hands on your legs or on the floor. You can keep a slight bend in your knees here depending on your level of flexibility. Let's bend the knees now and bring the hands behind our backs, either holding a towel or clasping, and just press your hands away from your back and down, either up or down towards the floor. Great, release and come into chair. Reach over your head. You can lift your toes off the floor to make sure the arches of your feet are active. Pull the belly in, press the hips back, knees back. Great, and slowly come into a full squat. Give yourself a hug, hugging the knees. Hands on the floor, straighten the legs. Forward bend. And let's bring the hands on the floor and step back into plank. Lower down onto your belly, hands underneath the shoulders, lengthening the back of the neck. Come up, cobra pose, elbows squeezing into your rib cage. Extend your tailbone down, press into your toes, down into your mat. And let's bring the hands behind the head and lift. Elbows are pressing back in one line with the ears. Lift again And again, lengthen. We're lengthening the entire back here and lower down. One more time, lift and lengthen. And release your hands down underneath your shoulders. Let's lift the right leg off the floor and lift the left leg off the floor. And switch, right leg lifts, left leg lifts, and back down. Lift both legs off the floor, and if you have the strength, lift your hands off the floor and reach in front of you. This is great for strengthening the lower back and preventing injuries. Great, and sit back in child's pose. Another great pose for your lower back. Now we're stretching the lower back. We were strengthening the lower back with the lifts, and this is a very mild stretch here. Great, come forward. Bring your forearms on the floor parallel to each other, shoulder width apart, and come into a plank. Spread your fingers open and bring your right knee into your elbow and the left knee into your elbow. Alright, now we begin. Bring in the right and the left, alternating sides. 4, 5, pull the belly in. 7, 8, 9, 10, and you can walk your feet in, coming into downward facing dog on your forearms, also known as dolphin pose. Great. Release your knees on the floor, come into all fours, and let's bring the left hand underneath and across. Bring the back of your shoulder on the floor for a shoulder stretch. We're stretching the back of the shoulder, releasing tension. You can walk your right hand all the way ahead of you, above your head and towards the front of your room. Soften your belly. This is also a spinal twist and a mild inversion. Slowly coming out of this, and bring your opposite right hand across. Bring the back of your neck, the back of your shoulder down, and breathe as if you're melting the back of your shoulder down into the floor. You can bring the left hand forward over your head. Try not to do jerking movements here. Whenever you're stretching your neck, be very careful. And slowly come out of this, coming onto all fours. Point the fingertips back towards you on the right hand and sit back slightly to stretch your wrists. Switch sides over to the other side. Keep all 5 fingers equally pressing into the floor. So that means you're gonna stretch back very little. Great. And now we're gonna bring the top of the hand on the floor, fingers pointing back at our knees, and sit back. All 5 fingers pressing into the floor. Switching sides. Again, the thumb is pressing down. The back of the thumb, the back of your hand is pressing down. You should feel a mild stretch across your forearm and into your wrist. Don't overdo it. Great. Onto the forearms, plank. And let's lift the right leg straight up, left leg straight up. And begin for 10, right and left. Try to lift your heels straight up, so you're using your glutes here and your hamstrings here rather than swinging. So continue with lifting the leg, lifting the heel up, keeping the hips level. Great. Once you're done with your 10 reps, you can sit back in child's pose. Palms of the hands facing each other, allow the shoulders to drop. Look ahead of you, forearms on the floor, forearm plank. And let's go into side plank here. Left forearm on the floor. Hips on top of each other, shoulders on top of each other. And we're gonna go for crunches here. 10 on each side. Bringing the elbow towards the knee. Breathe, keep your breath steady. Go for 10. Keep your hips lifted. And you can really squeeze your elbow into your knee. Just really bring it as close as you can. Pull the belly in. When you're done with your 10 reps, you can stretch your hand over your head, come back into plank and over to the other side. Making sure your shoulder is directly above your elbow. So 90-degree angle between your arm and your torso. Stacking the hips exactly on top of each other, shoulders over each other. And prepare for crunches over to this side. The hand is behind your head just for support. Try not to pull on your head at all. Go for 10. Squeezing the knee as close to your elbow as you can, and at the same time keeping the hips lifted. Exhale as you bring your elbow to your knee. And as you exhale, really draw the navel in. Once you're done, reach with your hand over your head and come back to elbow plank. You can clasp your hands here, interlacing the fingers, press the heels away from you, jump your feet on the outside of your mat and jump them back together. Let's go for 10. Try not to sag your hips, pull the belly in. Keeping the stomach firm. You can gaze slightly ahead of you. And 2 jumps count as 1. In and out is 1 rep. Once you're done with your 10 reps, you can rest in child's pose, allowing your shoulders and arms to relax, allowing the belly to soften. Let's come back up and press into downward facing dog. Spread the fingers open, press into your knuckles, the base of each finger, pressing into your thumb, index finger. The space between the index and the middle finger is pointing forward, directly forward. And let's walk the feet to the front of the mat. Exhale, forward bend. You can look over to your left and right. Shake your head. Hands on the floor. Look ahead of you, halfway up. You can bend your knees or straight, keep them straight. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. Hands over the heart. And let's step the feet about 3 to 4 feet apart. The feet are parallel to each other, outer edges of the feet parallel to each other, parallel to the outer edges of your mat. And let's bring the hands on the hips, lifting the kneecaps up, look up, and slowly begin to fold forward, coming halfway down with a flat back and all the way down. Keep your hands on your hips. Keep lifting your kneecaps, activating the quadriceps, lifting the arches of your feet off the floor. pressing into all four corners of each foot here. You can keep your knees slightly bent if you have to. And let's bring the hands on the floor. Left hand underneath the left shoulder, right hand reaches all the way up and forward ahead of us. Hips are still level and square. And over to the other side, spinning from the belly. Exhale, reach ahead of you. And release the hands down on the floor. Let's walk them to the front of the mat. Coming into low lunge. And walk your hands over to the other side, other foot, into a low lunge again. And one more time, walk your hands on the inside of your left foot, look ahead of you. And walk your hands over to your right foot, inside of the right foot, coming into a low lunge. Switch again, coming over to the left foot, and let's bring the right hand on the floor, left arm all the way up towards the ceiling. And let's reach way ahead of us. And switch sides, going over to your right leg. Right hand reaches all the way up, left hand on the floor. Reach way ahead of you. Bring both hands on the floor and back to the center of your mat. Look ahead of you. Exhale, folding. You can keep your hands on your mat. And let's bring the hands back on the hips. To come up, take a nice big breath in and be mindful of keeping your spine elongated and your back flat. And your lower back is strong here. You're using your hamstrings and glutes to lift you up to standing. And we're gonna bring the feet just slightly closer to each other. Left foot pointing forward, right foot about 60 degrees in. Hands parallel to the floor, arms parallel to the floor, hands reaching way ahead of you. And keeping your torso elongated, reach as far in front of you as you can. Lower down, triangle pose. The arms are reaching away from each other here. The shoulders are down. The right hip is externally rotating. The left femur is pressing back into its socket. We're lengthening both sides of the torso and lifting the arches of the feet here. We can lift the kneecaps as well. Let's bring the right arm up and over the head towards the front of the room, lengthening the entire top part of the body. Look down, bend your left knee and glide your left hand on the floor in front of your left foot, preparing for half moon pose. Uttita Ardha Chandrasana. Once you're in half moon, flex your foot and press your toes back in towards you. Hips are on top of each other. Lengthening the obliques, the sides of your body. You can look up. Bring both hands on the floor. Walk your hands towards your foot, standing half splits. It doesn't matter how high up you lift your top leg. Do your best, breathe, challenge your balance. Go a little deeper next time. Great, bend your left knee and step all the way back into lunge. Hands on the inside of your left foot. This time we're gonna lower the right knee on the floor. Tuck the tailbone under. Make sure your right knee is as far back as you can keep it, so that your left knee is above your left ankle. And hold here, tuck the tailbone under, extending your tailbone back towards your heel. Great, slowly come onto your hands, back into low lunge. Pressing the back heel away from you, keep your back flat, chest open, upper back wide. And let's bring the hands onto the left thigh and over the heart, and we're gonna twist here, bringing the right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Be mindful here of your right leg. You wanna activate your right heel. You want to flex your right leg, your thigh. Great. Coming out of this, straightening the legs. Step your legs closer in so that your hips are square. Hands on the hips and begin to fold forward. 4 intense side stretch. Uttanasana. Try to keep your back straight here. You don't have to go very deep into the stretch. The main point here is to keep your hips square and the back flat. You can keep your hands on your shin bone. Gradually working your way into deepening this pose. The next level here, optional, is to clasp your hands behind you, which will challenge your balance and also will deepen your stretch. Open the shoulders. Great. Slowly bring your chest parallel to the floor and then all the way up to standing. Hands are still clasping. Look up, lift through your heart. Mindful of your right foot here. This is keeping you balancing better. And let's come back to center. Feet parallel to each other. Clasping the hands, looking up. Exhale. Fold forward. Wide-legged forward bend, clasping the hands behind. Pressing the hands and the wrists away from your back and down towards the floor. So there is a double action here. Great. Come halfway up, hands on the hips and all the way up. And let's turn towards the back of our room. Preparing for triangle here. Let's reach, right hand reaches way ahead of us. Keep your hips in the same line here, lengthening the torso as much as you can. And let's lower the right hand on the floor. Left arm reaches all the way up. Arches of the feet are active. Spread your toes open. Press into the outer edge of your left foot here and rotate your left hip and left rib cage externally. Look down, bending the right knee. You can bring your left hand on the floor and bring the right hand in front of your right foot on the floor. Prepare for half moon pose, standing half moon pose. Once you're in half moon, continue working on alignment. Flex your foot, pull your toes back in towards you. Look up towards your top hand. Keep rotating your top hip externally. And let's bring both hands on the floor. Standing half splits. Do your best. You can bring one hand around your calf, or you can keep them both on the floor. Keeping the toes active, working on your calm breath. And let's bend the right knee and step all the way back into lunge. Hands on the floor. Press the back heel away from you. Lower your left knee on the floor. Keep your right knee over your right ankle. You can come down onto your elbows. Tuck the tailbone under and really breathe into your quadriceps and hip flexors. This is a great hip opener and great quadriceps stretch. Take it easy and just work on your breath. Slowly come up onto your hands, lifting the knee off the floor. Press the heel back away from you. Look ahead of you. Widen your chest. And let's bring the hands over the knee, coming into high lunge. Exhale. And bring your left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Open the chest, drop the shoulders. Exhale, soften your belly. Press the back heel away from you and activate, fire up the left leg. This helps with the balancing part of this pose. And it keeps you mindful of your body. Great. Inhale, coming out of this. Hands on the hips. Square your hips, so step your back foot in as much as you need to so that your hips can be completely square with the front wall, or in this case the back wall, the wall in front of you. And slowly begin to fold forward, pressing into the inner edge of your right foot, outer edge of your left foot. Hips are square. You can bring your hands on the floor, keep your back straight. Breathe into your hamstrings. This is a great pose to stretch the hamstrings. Next step is to clasp your hands behind you, optional, and lower your chest over your thigh or towards your thigh. Slowly come halfway up and all the way up to standing and look up. Vibrant heart. And let's bring the feet to parallel one more time. Facing the side of the room. Look up, chest opens. Exhale, folding forward. Hands are still clasping, interlacing the fingers. Inhale, halfway up, hands on the floor, flat back. Bend your right knee, bring your thigh to parallel, and straighten your left leg. Keep the outer edge of the leg on the floor, reach in front of you. Lower down the hands and go over to the other side. Same alignment. Pressing into the outer edge of the right foot, press your knee back so your knee is over your ankle. Hands on the floor, flat back, really flat back, open chest. And we're gonna reach with the left hand over the head and then go over to the other side, right hand over the head. And again, reach over your head. Switch over to the other side, keep your knee back. Coming back to center, hands underneath the shoulders, belly parallel to the floor. And let's grab the big toes with the index, middle finger and thumb and lower down. Here, your arms are parallel to the floor. Great. Coming out of this, jump your feet together or hip width apart, chair pose. Bringing the hips as far back as you can so your knees are as far back as you can, almost over your ankles. Great, come out of this. Stretching one side, clasping the hands, stretching the opposite side. Back to center. And let's take chair pose one more time. Sit as far back as you can and as deep as you can. Pull your belly in and straighten your back. Do not allow your back to round. Hands on the floor, crow's pose. This is a good opportunity for you to just pause the video and work on your crows. Great, lower down, yogic, squat. Hands in prayer, elbows opening the knees. Beautiful hip opener. And one more time. Crows, look forward, squeeze your heels up towards your booty. Pull your belly in. Slowly lower down, yogic squat. One more time. Hands in prayer. And let's straighten the legs. Walk the hands to the front of the mat. Lower the knees down on the floor, child's pose. Palms of the hands facing each other. Drop the shoulders, relax the shoulders. Drop your sitting bones onto your heels. Soften your belly. Great, and let's come up to seated. And we're gonna bend left knee on the floor, right knee up towards the ceiling. Bring your left elbow on the outside of the right knee and look over your right shoulder, keeping the chest open. The back wide, the shoulders down, softening the belly. With each exhalation, more and more. The spine is elongated. Inhale, coming out of this, and you're gonna flex your right foot and either hold it into your hand or you can bring it into your forearm. If your hips are open, you can bring it into your inner elbow. As you can see here, keep the foot flexing, and the action here is of pressing the knee away from you and the foot towards you, softening the hip. Great. Lower your ankle above your left knee and either sit here or you can fold forward. Again, the knee is pressing down towards the floor. Inhale, coming up. Bring your hands behind you, fingers pointed back towards you, and point your toes, lift. Lift your body off the floor, lift as high as you can, hips are lifted, tailbone extended, chest open, keeping the back of your body firm here, and sit back down. And let's switch sides. So we're gonna lower the right knee on the floor, left knee is reaching up. Bring your right elbow on the outside of the left knee and look back over your left shoulder. Exhale, soften the belly. Inhale, lengthen, elongate your spine. Exhale, go a little deeper, soften the belly. Twist a little deeper. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, going even deeper. Inhale, lengthening. Opening, widening the back. And as you inhale, come back forward and bring your right foot is flexing into your inner elbow or forearm or hand. Really breathe into your hip here. This is a great hip opener. Press the extended leg down into your mat. The knee is pressing away from you. Foot is pulling in towards you. Keep your back flat. And let's bring the ankle just above the right knee. Keep flexing both feet here, but really make sure that your left foot is flexing when you're doing hip openers. Great. Fold forward or stay seated. Breathe into your hip. Inhale, come back up, hands behind you, fingers pointing back at you. Point your toes, lift your hips as high as you can. The chest is open, forming the booty, forming the hamstrings. And lower down. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Open the knees out. And bend forward as far forward as you can without rounding your back. Great. Let's come down onto our backs. Lift your legs up towards the ceiling, flex your feet and reach up towards your toes. Keep your legs perpendicular to the floor. And we're gonna really pull the belly in, keep the chest open, lower the right leg a few inches off the floor, left leg reaches up and continue reaching towards the toes. Switch. Lower the left leg a few inches off the floor, lift it back up. Lower the right leg. Lift it back up, chest open. Really lift through your belly, switch. And let's bring the hands just over the floor. Lower the right leg down. Lower the left leg down. Switch. Slow and controlled movements. Keep drawing the belly in. Switch. Switch. Over to the other side. The chest is open. Let's bring the hands behind the head and bring the right elbow into the left knee, bicycle. And switch slowly over to the opposite side. And switch slowly. And over to the other side. Keep the chest open and the elbows back. Hands behind the head. Palms of the hands facing each other or up. And we're gonna crisscross the legs here. Keep them as low or close to the floor as you can without removing the lower back from the floor. Lower back is pressing into the floor. Great, and hug your knees into your chest. Let's keep the right knee into the chest, bring it across. Lowering the right shoulder on the floor, look past your right hand. Supine twist. Coming back up. Over to the other side. Look over your left hand. Soften the belly. Slowly coming back up. And let's lift the legs up and over the head for plough pose. If your feet are touching the floor, bring the top of the toes onto your mat. Walk your elbows in towards each other. bringing the chest in towards the chin. Straightening the back. Soften the back of your throat. Slowly lift your legs up into shoulder stand. Bend the knees and bring them over to left side by your left ear. Slowly back to center and over by the right ear. Slowly coming back to center. Plough and slowly lower down. Keep your legs as close to your belly as you can, lowering one vertebra at a time. Once your tailbone reaches the floor, slowly lower the legs all the way onto the floor. And we're gonna lift the chest open, modified fish pose. Elbows, forearms on the floor, coming onto the crown of the head. Keep the weight onto your forearms and elbows here, so that only the crown of the head is touching the floor, but we're not placing weight on it. Great. And prepare for Shavasana. We're going to open the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling, allowing the feet to drop out to the sides. Take a breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth, softening your belly, softening the jaw, softening your chest, softening the shoulders. One more time. Inhale through your nose, and as you exhale, feel your body becoming heavier, dropping down through your mat, becoming heavier, as if you're sinking through the floor. One more time. Inhale through the nose, exhale through your mouth, becoming even heavier, allowing all the tension that you hold in your body to dissolve into the earth, softening, melting, allowing yourself to be heavy. And begin to bring your gaze, turn your gaze towards your third eye. And as you're gazing in towards the area between your eyebrows, slowly begin to deepen the gaze, starting to look in deeper towards your heart, just observing, quietly observing, staying present, no judgment, no questions, no opinions formed, just staying present, mindful, observing, as if you're observing through your outer witness, observing yourself from outside with no judgment, full acceptance and love. Allowing the present moment to be the only thing of importance. Everything else slowly dissolving, disappearing. Staying fully aware of this very moment. As if nothing else matters. This is the only thing that matters, this moment. to come out of this, slowly begin to wiggle your toes and fingers. Inhale your hands over your head, point your toes and stretch your belly, still keeping the eyes closed. And let's bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug. Slowly roll onto one side, whichever side you choose, still keeping the eyes closed. Using your top hand, press yourself gently into a comfortable seated pose. Cross-legged seated Sukhasana. Bring your hands over your knees, palms facing up. Inhale your hands over your head. Bring them over the third eye and over the heart, sealing the benefits of the practice today. And let's bow to our hearts for their forgiveness, compassion, and love. Namaste.